What's up, Harbor.Church? Hey man, I want to give a shout out to all the fathers in the room. Y'all out here holding it down each and every day, because I tried for like 3 months. It's real, it's tough. It's tough. But my name is Joe. Obviously, you know who I am from Katie Rose, but I help serve in the parking lot and youth group. But every time I get the opportunity to speak, I always want to challenge you guys with something, because it's super easy each and every time you come to church, week in, week out, small group after small group. It's easy to just sit in a service and just say, just another sermon, 30 more minutes. I ain't really gotta pay attention, right? I've been there, and it's super easy, because there was a time in my life, and it was recently, like this year, I was telling one of my best friends, I was like, dude, I feel like I'm just not getting nothing out of it. And knowing him, he likes to shoot the truth at me. And he said, Joe, the next time you sit in a service, I want you to ask God something. And some of you guys don't know who God is, and that's fine. Some of you guys are wrestling with the fact of just trying to figure out if I even want to believe in this Jesus person. But for everybody in the room, I want to challenge you with the same thing my friend challenged me with. I want you to ask God something today. God, would you block out the distractions? Would you block out the noise? Because it's super easy to sit there and scroll Snapchat, scroll Instagram, and just... But you got 30 minutes. Look, tomorrow's going to be Monday. It's going to be the same old thing. You're going to go out to lunch. You're going to say, Happy Father's Day, Dad. But you got 30 minutes to say, hey, God, what do you have for me? What can I learn from you today? God, would you convict me? Because, guys, I promise you, the day I asked that, I walked out of here crying. And, well, you might not want to boo-boo cry. But the day I did that, God was like, psh. And then I'm telling you, if you want God to move, just ask him. And see, the past few weeks, we've been really talking about Jesus saying, I am. And you're like, okay, yeah, I've been here the past few weeks. The first week, we talked about Jesus being the good shepherd. And then the next week, we talked about Jesus being the resurrection and the life. And now today, we get the opportunity to talk about Jesus saying, I am. And this is the last time Jesus says the words, I am. And in this time frame, it was about to be the time where he was going to be crucified. Jesus chose to be in front of his disciples and say, hey, I am the true vine. I'm the true grapevine, whatever version you want to use, he is the vine. And I know some of y'all out here like, bro, I don't even know what a vine is. I found out, honestly, like 3 weeks ago what a vine was. But, because I'm not a gardener, you can ask my wife, we have one plant that stays alive all year long. Every other flower just dies. But Jesus says the vine, but why? Before I even tell you why, we're going to read a big chunk of text. And I tell all my students, I don't like to read. All right, so I'm gonna need y'all to don't get lost in the sauce. Don't just start looking at your phone. It's 12 o'clock, you can't fall asleep. Y'all already had breakfast. All right, y'all already got your Dunkin'. All right, so let's read John 15, verse 5, 1 through 8. I am the true grapevine. My Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit. He prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Remain in me and I will remain in you, for a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine. And you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. Yes, I am the vine and you are the branches. Those who remain in me and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into a pile to be burned. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you will be my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father. And I know it's super easy. I'm like, oh my gosh, bro, I just got my Bible reading for the week. Woo, we just read 8 verses. Chill. I hope you read the Bible more than this. But for real, I know you see this, and you're like, shee, that's a lot. How are we gonna dive into that? My question is for you, why did Jesus say he was a vine? Why? I would venture to guess that Jesus was trying to be relatable here, because everywhere the Israelites went, there was vines everywhere. There was vineyards. And that was just a sense of saying, like, man, like, I'm not just every ordinary vine. I'm not just every little grapevine you see out here. I'm the true vine. See, everywhere they went, even when they went to the temple to sacrifice or to even worship or to learn something, they saw this big golden vine right in front of them in the temple. And see, I know you guys, some of y'all ain't gardeners. I'm not gardeners. I don't like working outside. That's why I work inside. So, to be relatable for you, how many of you guys have a cell phone? Everybody got a cell phone. Okay, 3 people got a cell phone. Congratulations. And if you don't have a cell phone, it's fine. I don't like people sometimes too, so it's a winner. But as a cell phone, as you read in the text, Jesus is the vine and we are the branches. Just like if Jesus was the cell phone charger and you were the phone, the only way you're going to be able to use Snapchat, scroll Instagram, or whatever you want to do, the only way you can call your mom on Mother's Day or your dad on Father's Day is if your phone is charged. So my phone can't be used if I'm not charging it. I can't produce fruit if I'm not connected to the vine. So I want to relate that to you. But see, some of you guys, how many of you had a cell phone that's just been on 1% and you're like, oh man, where's my cell phone charger? Oh my goodness. Look, I've been there. The other day, I was scrounging around for my phone. It's on 1%. You find it, you're like, whoo. It was on 2%, okay. But some of you right now are on 1% right now. And I'm not talking about your phone. I'm talking about you. Some of you may not know who God is. Some of you, maybe your marriage is struggling. Maybe you just can't stop being addicted to that one drug, or you can't get off that website, or you can't seem to just stop making life about yourself and all about you. I don't know why you're here, but maybe somebody dragged you here. But I know for me in my life, I had to take one step. I had to take one step, and you being here was your one step. And see, Jesus wasn't always talking about being relatable here. He was talking about growing, and this is a picture of us growing in our faith. And see, when we do that, talking about growing in our faith, Jesus was saying like, hey, I want you to know that if I'm the vine, I'm going to keep growing you and growing you. I know recently in my life, you guys know that I was fostering Gio, and I loved the idea about being a father. I loved it. Until I walked him up the stairs and reality hit and he was crying and I was like, oh man. Thankfully, my wife was such a rock star and it was like a flip of a switch for her. She just like mommy mode and I was like, yo. But in this season, God was growing me. And God was teaching me how to love more, to be more patient, to be more kind, more selfless. And I was like, man, and it hurts. And I know some of you are out here like, well, Joe, I tried going to church. I tried loving people. I tried being kind. I tried doing all that. I tried loving my wife the way I was supposed to. I tried being kind to my friend, even though they're not kind to me. And each and every time, I end up short. So why are you going to sit here and tell me that I need to follow Jesus? Well, I would venture to guess that if you're loving on your own, if you're trying to be faithful on your own, if you're trying to be kind on your own, and you keep on coming up short, it's because you're forgetting who the true power source is. And see, in Galatians 5:22, verse 23, it says, but the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in our lives: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. There is no law against these things. So we have this picture about Jesus telling us to grow these fruit. And I'm not talking about grapes and oranges and all that fun stuff, pineapples. My wife loves pineapples. And I love a grape. But God's not saying, hey, I'm trying to grow some fruit. No, he's talking about spiritual fruit here. And see, I don't know, some of y'all out here like, man, shoo, I'm kind to people. I love people, right? Let me ask y'all something. Y'all go to Starbucks, get your little donkeys up, right? In the drive-through line, get a medium hot black, medium hot regular. Somebody in line in front of you orders like $30 worth of food, and you're already late for work, and you're like, bro, really? Come on, man, I gotta go to work. And you honk your horn. You ain't peaceful no more, huh? Hey, I'm not judging nobody though. I'm not judging nobody because I'm on the other side of the window preparing that $30 worth of food. And I'm like, bro, why couldn't you come inside? But But this picture of Jesus trying to grow us in our faith is for a reason. Because see, God is calling us to do what? It says here in John 15, verse 8, when you produce much fruit, you may be my true disciples. This brings great glory to my Father. Remember that Jesus is saying that we are the branches and we are the vine, and he's calling us to bear fruit. And I know some of y'all out here are like, man, Joe, I seen you read that list. Say less. I have it done by a month. I'm gonna love today. I'm gonna be self-controlled tomorrow, patient to next day. I hate to break it to you. Literally, like this morning, I tried loving somebody and I fell short right away. It was tough, man. And I know it's like, you can't do it. It's feasibly impossible to do it without God. And see, in John 15, verse 2, it says, he cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they'll produce even more. So, each way I look at this, we're going to get cut either way. One or two ways. It's up to you. Some of y'all fell away from God. Some of y'all don't know who God is, and I'm not picking on you. I'm not. But I know sometimes in our life we think we got it all together. We want the next new car. We want the next new boyfriend. We want to have all the likes on Instagram and say, oh my God, look at me. But like, we want the next accolade. We want that next job title. You want to have this super marriage. Look at me on Facebook. I have the super marriage. But you feel so empty on the inside. And I hate to break it to you, my friend. Like, you can keep chasing after those things and it's going to lead to nothing. Bro, I've been there. And I know some of you guys, you're out here and you're trying to follow God. God, I love you, but it's so hard. I can't let go of that addiction. I can't do any of this without you. But these things that I'm struggling with that consume every part of me, I can't let go of. But in Hebrews 12, it says, no discipline is enjoyable while it's happening. It's painful. But afterwards, it will be a peaceful harvest of right living for those who are trained in that way. And I know right now it's like, you're like, God, but it's so hard to hold on, like to let go of these things that consume me. I don't know if it's your phone. I don't know if it's just you spending too much time with your friends and not enough time with God. I don't know. You only are the person that knows that. But man, if it hurts right now, just God's telling you, hey, it's going to hurt. But afterwards, man, you're going to feel so peaceful. See, recently, preparing for this message, man, I was a nervous wreck. I was struggling. Ask my wife. And God got me to a point this past week where he's like, man, you ain't going to have nobody but me. I'm literally going to make you so uncomfortable that all you can do is just run to me. And I'm going to take everything out of your life that brings you comfort, and I'm going to say, God, I just need you. And like you gotta get to a point in your life where you say, hey, if you're really trying to be a follower of Jesus, and those things you want to cling to, those things you want to run to bring you comfort and joy, whatever it is, God's saying, okay, but what about me? Because see, the Father, he expects fruit. So you should expect pruning. You should expect, like, if you say, oh my gosh, I love Jesus. Well, God's going to be, snip, you still love me? You still love me? And I'm just like, my thing is, and I know I want you guys, some of y'all are going to be so caught up in this production aspect, right? Like, well, I'm going to check this off. I'm going to check this off and this off. But I hate to break it to you, man. What's your why behind it, man? I ask some of my students, what is your why? Why do you want to be at youth group? Guys, why do you want to be at church? Is it because you want to say, ooh, look at me. I go to small group. I don't know. But for me, it's like, what is your why? Why do you want to love people? Why do you want to be kind? Why do you want to be joyful and faithful? Why do you want to bear these fruits that God is calling us to bear? Why? So my thing is do you want it because you want to look good, or maybe you want to show the person next to you that's sitting next to you right now to say, hey man, look, I've been where you're at, and God is faithful enough to radically change my life, so I want to show you the love and the kindness and the joy that he's done for me. That should be your why. And so in John 15, verse 5, it's an ESV, it says that I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. I know that's tough, man. Because I know some of y'all like, man, me, I'm out here, I can do everything. I'm like, put it on my shoulders. I got you. Until God hits me in the knees. But realistically, I love that part. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Because sometimes as a Christian, we're like, all right, I got to read my Bible today. I got to go to small group today. I got to do this. I got to do this. I got to do this. And we start just going through the motions, being on this routine. But God is not calling us to that. What does he say? He says, whoever abides in me and I in him, that for me, that's, but what is abiding though? I'm not that smart, guys. I had to Google it, So I'm like, hey, look, I had to AI that thing. But realistically, abiding to me was, you got to make a choice. You got to make a choice to follow God. And some of you don't know who God is today. And maybe, just maybe, if you open your heart enough and say, you know what, God, I'm tired of being the God of my life. And I'm just going to trust in you today if you would take that one step. Abiding is making a choice. So you got to choose to follow God's standards. You got to choose to follow God's commandments. It's not like, oh, God, I love you. I woke up, I got saved yesterday. No, you got to wake up every day and say, God, today can't be about me. Today got to be about you. And I don't know where you're at in your life. Maybe life just gave you a sour bag of gummy worms that are not good. I don't know. But you're here. So what are you going to do with it? Are you going to choose what you want, or are you going to choose God? I love how Joshua says it in Joshua 22, verse 5. But be very careful to obey all the commands I can't read today, but be very careful to obey all the commands and the instructions that Moses gave to you. Love the Lord your God, walk in all of his ways, obey his commands, hold firmly to him, and serve him with all of your heart and all of your soul. Man, I love that one part in there. It says, hold firmly to me. It's the same thing as abiding. If you would just let go of what you want, if you would just let go of the things that bring you so much joy, quote unquote, if you would just let go and say, you know what, God, I don't want my desires anymore. I don't want the things that bring me so much joy. I want you. If you would just choose God and say, God, I just want to hold firmly to what you have for me. It's not the new car. It's not the new job. It's not that. That stuff is going to fade away. God's like, hey, wake up. Choose me. See, but it's so simple to say, all right, God, I'm gonna let go. But guys, I want to tell you something. Producing without connecting is futile. It's not fruitful. Because it's easy to be this checkbox Christian, just to check the boxes. But God is calling us to be connected to him, because I want to tell you something. The only way that you're going to be fruitful is if you choose Jesus. The only way you're going to bear any of this fruit is if you choose God. And in this next verse, you're going to see what a true Christian actually looks like. In Matthew 7:17 through 20, it says, a good tree produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit. And a good tree cannot produce bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot produce good fruit. So every tree that does not produce good fruit is chopped down and thrown into the fire. Yes, just as you can identify a tree by its fruit, so you can identify people by their actions. I didn't say that. That's what Jesus said. So but in all reality, man, like you can identify a Christian by how they carry themselves, how they walk, and how they talk. And guys, please, I'm the type of person, like, I don't care what you think about me. I come into church, what you see is what you get. But in reality, man, what are you doing when you're not here? What are you doing in your house? How are you raising your kids? Students, how are you treating your parents? Yeah, treat your parents right. I know some of y'all. But for real though, how you carrying yourself at work? Is it about you or is it about God? When's the last time you slowed down and you took inventory? When was the last time you said, man, how am I carrying myself when I'm not around people that love Jesus? Do people see the fruit in my life? Does my wife follow Jesus' way? Because I'm called to carry my wife. Do I lead at work the way I'm supposed to? Trust me, I got people in my life that don't follow God. They call me out of my bull crap all the time. I'm just keeping it real. But it's humbling, man, because it's like, what do I want to care about? The things that I want? Or do I want people to see the love and the joy and the peace of God? And I'm being real with y'all. If you slow down and just take inventory, slow down. Ask any of my friends, man, I'm the type of person, I'm like, yo, speed up, gotta go. I like doing everything. And see, there was a time in my life where all I wanted is to care about the money, having the best marriage, being this super Christian. Look at me, I'm awesome. Yeah, and I got nice things. I got the nice job, I got the nice title. I got it all, right? Age of 20, I was out there living my best life. But I felt empty on the inside, man. Ecclesiastes 2:10-11. Anything I wanted, I would take. I denied myself no pleasure. I even found great pleasure in hard work, a reward for all my labors. But as I looked at everything I had worked so hard to accomplish, it was also meaningless, like chasing the wind. There was nothing really worthwhile anymore. Man, when I see this, that just hurt me. How many of y'all up in here still just trying to speed up, chase the next new job, the next new title, trying to be the super mom, trying to be the super dad, but still feel empty on the inside? You got that nice Escalade, got the nice BMW. I don't know what you drive. You got that fat bank account. You got that new girlfriend, student. You got that new honey, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But deep down inside, you feel broken. Got everything you wanted. And I'm going to let you know, Ecclesiastes from King Solomon, he had everything. All the money, all the wives, he had it all. So if you got everything you wanted and he got everything he wanted and he's telling you he feels empty, man, this was written a long, long time ago. And I love this verse, man. It really slows me down. John 15:5 doesn't say, apart from me, you can do less. It says, apart from me, you can do nothing. What if that's not a rebuke, but a rescue? What if Monday wasn't a race, but a reminder? What if the pressure you're feeling right now is really an invitation to pray? Man, I don't know what you got to go to tomorrow or even after this. But again, if you don't know who God is and you're like, man, what if Monday doesn't have to be another Monday? Because I know tomorrow you're like, oh, I gotta go to work. No, bro, you got breath in your lungs. You get paid. And so my thing is this, like, what if it doesn't have to be another Monday? What if it doesn't have to be just another day? Maybe God's just trying to get your attention. Hey, wake up. Because I know for me, when I slow down enough, God's like, yo, would you just stop and rest with me? God's saying, hey, today, with your next 30 minutes, not even 30 anymore, for the next 15 minutes, would you just choose me? And I'm not talking about come to church next week. I'm talking about when you go home and you're struggling and you're mad or you're angry and you're just like, God, I need you. God's trying to slow you down enough to say, hey, will you just pray? Will you just choose me? And I know the past few minutes we've been talking about what it looks like to produce fruit and that God is calling us to bear fruit. See, in John 15, verse 7, it says, but if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want and it'll be granted. And I know some of y'all are like, ooh, that iPhone 17 coming out in like 3 months. The next new Jordan, the Lambo, the money. I'll take the Lambo though. I ain't gonna lie. But God ain't gonna give it to me because I can't drive. But that's wild. Y'all clapped at that one. But for real though, that's not saying that you can, God's not saying, hey, if you remain in me, if you choose me, you choose to spend time in prayer, you choose to spend time in my word, if you choose to pour out into people, I'm going to give you whatever you ask for. Because why? Because the more you choose God, the more you let go of your wants, your needs, your desires, those are going to start to change. You're not going to care about the next new paycheck or the next new job. All you're going to want to see is, hey, do you know who Jesus is? Hey, do you love God? Because church doesn't got to be just church. Church can say, hey, Dude, you're struggling? I got you. I got a group of people that were super close to me, man. And when I was in need, I didn't even have to hesitate. They just stepped up. That's love. And that produced joy in my heart because now I can focus on what I need to focus on. That's bearing fruit when you don't have to say, oh, I got to love today. No. It just oozes out of you, man. And see, when I start to spend time with God, man, I want to tell y'all something. You're probably sitting here like, man, I don't know who God is though, man. Like, I don't even know what to do. I want y'all to take one step. Take a step. If you've fallen away from God, your church hurt, whatever it is, take a step. And if you're that checkbox Christian, the guy that, or the girl that is like, man, I'm just going to do this today. Or if you're the person that's struggling on the inside, like, man, God, I can't. I don't know how to read my Bible. I don't know how to pray. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know how to make a friend. I'll tell you what God say. James 1 verse 5. If you need wisdom, ask our generous God and he will give it to you. He will not rebuke you for asking. God's telling you to choose him. Would you ask him? Let me ask you, non-Christian, person that don't believe in God, what else you got to lose? In time of my life, it's before Harbor, I quote unquote followed Jesus. I knew who God was, went to Bible school, had it all together, right? I remember after a hard area in my life, I was sitting in a bar and one of my friends asked me, Joe, what's wrong? And I said, man, this ain't me. At that time, I wanted nothing to do with God. It wasn't me though. I knew that. I knew there was going to be a point in my life where I was going to have to choose God again, but I didn't want to do it right now. And maybe that's you today. I don't know. But are you willing to let go? Because see, abiding doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't. You don't just wake up and say, whoop, got the fruit of the Spirit. And if you are, hey man, look, let me know. I need to know that secret. But for real, it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't. And see, the more you focus on God, the more you're consumed by God. The more you ask God, God, would you teach me how to read? God, would you teach me how to understand your word? Would you teach me how to pray? Would you put people around me that truly want to push me closer to you? And God, you know what? This hurts, but I want to experience your peace. I don't want to be a checkbox Christian. I don't want to be the person that sits in here every week and just says, all right, it's another service. You know who I really want to be like? This psalmist here, Psalm 119, verse 11. I've hidden your word in my heart that I may not sin against you. Man, that's crazy. Because I know when I see it's like, I've hidden your word. And I go back and everything I just read, like this psalmist, he's holds firmly to God. He wants to obey God's commandments. He wants to hold firmly to whoever God is. The God that goes before you, that goes behind you. The God that handcrafted you in your mother's womb. Every little intricate failure in your life, everything that you ever struggled with, he was there. And I know it may not feel like it, but he's been there. Because that story I just told you about me sitting in a bar, I can look back and say my God was faithful. Because let me tell you something, man, if you asked me 6 years ago that I'd be here, no, come on, man. If you were to ask me three years ago, my wife gonna kill me, I almost forgot. But if you asked me 3 years ago that I'd be praying with my wife faithfully, and that last year when I'm saying, God, would you provide a family? And then I get the opportunity to practice with my nephew. Come on, man. You couldn't tell me that the people that I used to not follow God with, that I get to worship with, that I've seen people in this room not know who God is and say eventually, God, I just want to love you. That ain't me, that's God. And so like, you're here right now. And you're here right now and you're like, Joe, but I can't make that choice. Look, man, you ain't got to have it all together. You ain't got to come to God any type of way. And hey, maybe you're the person that's here each and every week. You ain't got to check boxes. I'm glad you go to small group. I'm glad you come to church. I'm glad you're connected. But what are you connected to? Your friend group? I don't know. But do you want to be connected to the true vine? The true source, the true thing that gives you joy, the true thing that gives you peace. Man, guys, I'm telling you, I don't have peace unless I'm literally connected to the one that puts breath in my lungs. And I'm not just saying that because I'm up here. I'm saying that because I know what it looks like to not. But today, you got to make a choice. Checkbox Christian, non-believer. I don't know. You got to make a choice. And I can't make that choice for you. But right now, we got a couple minutes where you get the opportunity to be real with God. Don't pay attention to nobody beside you. But for real, you get an opportunity right now. Say, God, I'm sorry I've been just checking boxes. I'm sorry I've been doing everything on my own. But God, I want to be connected to you. God, I don't know who you are. I don't even know what this Jesus thing is. But God, I'm struggling. Yo, you've been faking it for so long. Will you just take an opportunity to be real with the person that put breath in your lungs? Will y'all bow your heads with me? Father, I thank you. I thank you for the opportunity to come before you. I thank you for the opportunity for the breath in our lungs. Father, I lift up that person that's struggling right now. I lift up that person that just is running from you. The person that just doesn't want to let go of their struggles, the things they cling to. God, I lift up that person, Father, that you would radically change their life. That they won't even know who they are anymore 6 months from now. They won't even know who they are tomorrow. God, that they would just choose you today. That they would just have enough strength, Father. Would you be their strength to give them just the faith to take a step and say, God, I need you. For those of you that ran away from God and you're here today, it's not too late. It's not too late to come back and say, God, look, I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry for running from you and clinging to my wants and my needs. God, I need you. For those of you that come to church each and every week, you can choose Jesus. You can choose Jesus to be your true source. It doesn't got to be the same thing every week. Father, would you touch each and every person in this building? In Jesus' name, amen.